I think the question is, how important is it that you play club soccer? And I think we could use that as a blank. And how important is it do you play ODP? How important is it do you play MRL? How important is it? How important is it? The important thing is that you play. And I think whether that's club, high school, ODP, or you're doing all of it, MRL, or you're doing all of it, the important thing is that you get out and play the game that you love and play it with a passion and enjoyment and a fulfillment that you're seeking to get out of that. So I think that's number one, and that's a decision you have to make on an individual basis. As far as us coaches, in terms of being able to evaluate you or not, there's different philosophies, and every coaching staff will decide how they're going to exercise their travel schedule, exercise their budget for recruiting and things like that, and those things will determine where we're going to get to see you play. And we may not be able to go to any MRL games, or we may not be able to see any ODP events, or we might only get to see a high school game, or we might only get to see an ODP game. You know, it depends on all that. For myself personally, and we'll let the others speak, you know, I'm going to try to avail myself of any opportunity, but primarily, I'd like to see you play with the club team. I'd like to see you play with your high school team, and I'm going to try to get out and do both. Now, there's another part to that question, and that I've fielded in other panels like this, and really it's about do I play club in my high school season, or do I play high school? And again, it's a personal decision on my part, but if it's me, you know, I'm paying taxes to that school, and those other girls are going to play whether you're there or whether you're not, and they're wearing your high school uniform, and they're going to go on to, in Julie's case, a state championship. Nequa's done that. You know, different other schools. I mean, there's a lot of memories there. There's a lot of girlfriend experiences there. There's a lot of pasta parties and all that other kind of stuff that goes into that. You know, that really makes that something special that's part of your high school experience. And it doesn't matter whether your high school is a very strong program or a very weak program, because the thing, I'll go out and see teams that you would annihilate, and I'll see a girl play for that team, and what I'm going to get out of that is, all right, I know she's surrounded by girls that aren't going to get this, but what I want to see is what kind of a leader is she? Is she able to make girls around her better? You know, and how does she deal with frustration when they don't connect to her the way she would if she was playing on her club team? Because guess what? She's going to face frustration in college. There's going to be times when things aren't going to connect. You know, she's going to need to be a leader. Everybody on my team has to be a leader because it's required of us, and everybody up on this table would say the same thing about that. Every girl has to. So I'm going to learn a lot about that, whether your high school team's any good or whether it's not. So I don't know if that was part of the equation or not, but it don't matter. Play the game. Play the game, and you heard Paul talk about it right up here earlier, and that is, if you want to play the game and play it at college, contact us. Let us know where you're playing the game. You know, we'll get out to see that. But, you know, you're going to pay $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 to play club. Yeah, you paid, how many tax dollars did you pay to support this auditorium? You know, so from that standpoint, you know, you're already paying to be a part of this, whether you play in it or not. And I just think, how could you have a coach like Joe Moreau, a coach like Julie Bergstrom? How could you miss out on that opportunity to learn from someone like that? You know, and so I don't know. I'm not for that year-round thing. I think maybe I'm old school. Maybe I'm that old dog that needs to learn something new. I don't know. But the reality is, play where you want to play. Let us know about it. We'll be out to find you.
I have recruited this year, coming in, 2 players that were, I don't know, both all-conference players for their high school. One was, I think, second team all-state. Neither one plays club soccer. When I watch these girls play, they're incredible. They're really good athletes. And again, you're talking about levels. You're going to find it very hard to go to Wisconsin, Baylor, Illinois, and not be a club player. What you learn is based on experience. Soccer is a game that you have to get out and play, and you have to routinely play that sport. Yes, women are a little bit different. If you are incredible athlete that has speed, that can jump, that can just do things that a club player, you know, just can't do, your doors are going to open a little bit. But again, it's going to come down to your skill set. I love three-sport athletes. I mean, I think that's what's great about high school. But you know, it's hard. Jill Krivacek, who I coached in club, went to Rosary, and she played basketball all 4 years. She won a national championship when she was a sophomore. So she did do something else and play club, you know, and made it all work. I'm a believer in that. My son never played high school soccer. My other two kids both played high school soccer. So when my son was a freshman, you know, they didn't, he stayed with his club team. And I had one of the first girls teams that stayed out of high school. Now I'm a high school coach. So, you know, when you look at all the dynamics, you really have to kind of figure it out yourself. But the only question I'd ask somebody who didn't play high school soccer is, if you never played for an institution, how are you going to represent my institution? And if it wasn't for high schools, there would be no next level. So high school is about community, and I think that's one thing. But that's a long subject and debate. But so I'm going to see how these girls do. And one's playing softball now. The other one is a two-sport. So she's already been emailing me, asking me what she should do, what she should be working on. And when I watched her play, I thought for sure she played club. I said, "Where are you going to school?" And she says, "I'm not going anywhere." I said, "What?" You know, I was taken back because she was one of the best players on that field. And so it was just, it was very interesting. But I see a lot of players like that at different high schools. There's a girl right now that I'm watching, and she's another three-sport athlete. She's volleyball, basketball, and soccer. Now she plays for a club, but she never shows up. So, but she's a great athlete, and she's going to be a great college soccer player. So, like I said, it's all what you want to get out of it. And like anything else, the more work you can put into it, the better you are going to be, and the more opportunities you're going to be. But, you know, I wouldn't limit yourself. What your goals are, you set those goals. If you want to be a three-sport athlete and you want to go do something, go to the right school, communicate with the coach, and things can happen.
One more thing into that. Ultimately, if you don't have the grades, you don't go to school. So all the time that you spend playing club level here and there, if you don't have the ACT or the SAT score to get into the school that you want to get to, you've just wasted thousands and thousands of your parents' dollars.
Just a little bit of point to that, and I really think it's an individual choice. I really honestly do. But I'll give you a little bit of a reality for us as Division I coaches. I probably have, and Janet might be right, I might exaggerate this number, 300 to 400 people that give us emails in one grade year, probably around that. For us to see you, the best bang for our buck is a tournament. You know, if I'm going to go and I get Susie from one high school team, for me to drive 2.5 hours to go see her play or go to a tournament and see 70 kids play, the reality is for me, I can't go everywhere. And so I think there's some benefit to both. Please understand that. I think there's visibility issues with club. It allows you to be a little bit more visible. If I'm not going to go to California to see some girl play on her high school team, I'm just not. It's going to be impossible for me to do that. But if I'm at a tournament, I have a better chance of seeing her. I think if you're looking locally, I think it's a little bit better for coaches or easier for coaches to see you in high school, especially if you're in this area, the Midwest. A lot of coaches will spend time to go to high school games. So understand that. And I think it's also a personal choice. Understand I played high school soccer. I encourage players if that's something that's important to them to do that. But I think from a visibility recruiting standpoint, especially since recruiting is becoming so much younger, it opens doors to see a lot more people that if you're really interested in a school in California, I'm pretty sure that California coach isn't going to come see you play just high school because there might be two players maximum on your high school team that a coach would want to see. So I think that's the flip side of it. in terms of visibility, but I definitely think there's a benefit to both, because I think loyalty to your schools is also very important in terms of that, and I encourage both. So I think you've got to find the happy balance, to be honest. That would be my honest answer.